What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest episode of Games Up podcast, and welcome to the very last episode of our 2016 EGX Indie Dev interviews. But what a show it is. We have been talking about it for 2 months, and so I am delighted, absolutely delighted to say that this week we are joined by the developers of Yooka Laylee, one of the biggest success stories in gaming in the last few years. We are absolutely delighted to have them on the show, so it's time for me to stop rambling and hand you over. This is Yooka Laylee. Hello everybody, welcome back to Games Up podcast, and I am still here on the show floor of EGX 2016, still in the indie section, but it feels unbelievably weird to say I'm in the indie section being joined by one of the biggest names in gaming this year. Tell us about yourself, introduce yourself, who you are, what you're here to talk about.
Hi, I'm Gavin Price from Playtonic, studio director and the creative lead, and I'm proud to be here representing Yooka Laylee.
Of course you're proud to be here representing it. You guys have been a giant story over the past year and a half. Tell us about what Yooka Laylee has gone through. Tell us about, like, from announcement to the giant flourish of support you had to where you are now.
Yes, so when we first announced, we didn't have any high expectations. We just thought, hey, you know, we'll mention what we're doing and then we'll get our heads down and carry on. But the response to us has been huge, and it's been really humbling. And we couldn't thank the fans enough for that. And it's kind of helped direct everything we've done since that point to where we are today, in terms of we took on the Kickstarter, which went incredibly well. The studio grew larger than we were anticipating it would so soon, and it's enabled us to pour all that much more effort and polish into Yooka Laylee and get it up to the standard that we really wanted to be a lot sooner.
Excellent, excellent. So there are a huge amount of stations here for people demoing Yooka Laylee, and there's a queue that wraps around the booth. What is it like to be stood here with the game that you've been working so intensely on and showing it to members of the public who are not only here to play it and enjoy it, but some who may have actually contributed to the creation of it?
It's incredibly humbling. We couldn't believe that we were going to have these queues. I think some of the staff from Team 17 who are helping us had to go and get more rope so the queue we could support the bigger queue. And it just reflects everything up to this point so far, is that every time we do something, the response is bigger and better than even what we could have even dreamed for. And to have people finally sit down playing the game, getting the first hands on in the world, it's really nervous and scary. But then seeing everyone's faces in response to it, it really makes you look back at all the hard work that's gotten us to this point and think, wow, this is so worthwhile. And we're so glad to be here doing this. Every
time I hear the game get mentioned on any piece of games press I hear, when it's in terms of the gameplay of it, it's nothing but positive. And it's really, really nice to see the public getting that same feeling out of it. So one of the things that I think makes you guys and what you're doing really interesting is the people who make up Playtonic. So can you tell us a little bit about sort of where the team comes from and how you came together?
Yeah, the core team first worked together at Rare, working on these types of experiences. And these kinds of experiences, they're kind of not limited to a company or a way of doing things. It's kind of just always been a reflection of our personalities manifested in a game. Mm-hmm. Get us together, and this is what kind of we just naturally gravitate to and make our experiences like this, where we think first and foremost we want to have really colourful characters, worlds, lots of fun, lots of comedy and innuendo and humour. And it's just kind of a mixture of what us, when we get together, we say, if we're going to make a game, what would we play ourselves? And it kind of just naturally evolves into what the game we make.
Great, excellent. So one of the things about doing a Kickstarter or a crowdfunding in general, if you do it right, is you really generate a sort of a community before the game even happens. How are you finding that sort of back and forth with the community is been up to this point and looks to go in the future?
First of all, it's been incredibly valuable. Even when we have a look on social media, forums, we see a lot of people saying the same things we were thinking, and it's really validating, so it helps us make good decisions on the game. Secondly, I'm really proud of our community, that it's so positive and so supportive of not only us, of each other. It's a really, really lovely community to go and engage with and see them talking and discussing amongst themselves. And it really brings home that actually, we've got some amazing fans. We've got a really friendly part of the internet, which is pretty hard to find these days, and it's lovely, absolutely lovely.
So, looking at the game right in front of me now, looking at somebody playing it, it looks absolutely stunning. It looks totally different to how it looked, when you guys announced it, and even a little bit post that announcement. What kind of progress do you think there is still to make on the game before people can actually get it in their living rooms?
We're doing right now, we're in the final throes of development, which is just polish, and bug fix.
Right.
We're really happy with the diverse range of content we've got in there. There's still some pretty cool secrets to unveil about later levels, storyline, etc. So, yeah, we're really happy with what we've got in there. And now it's just all about making sure it's polished. There's no rough snags, edges that people bring the experience down a little. We just want everyone, as they come across different characters, NPCs, scenarios, just to find each one as enjoyable as possible.
Great. So Yooka Laylee is shooting for a very specific, or it feels like it's shooting for a very specific tone and idea and feeling. How does that make developing the game harder? Because suffice to say, that tone and feeling hasn't been very around, it hasn't been very present in the games industry in the past 15, 20 years. How does it feel to sort of be trying to go back and recapture that?
I think it's come quite natural to us because, as I mentioned earlier, it's more of an extension of our personalities.
Of course.
Anyway, so it's just been the right circumstances and point in time came to be where a lot of the core development teams from the past, we just happened to be able to get together at this point in time and work in a way how we used to. All those scenarios came together perfectly, and we end up just naturally doing the game like this.
Excellent. So what's next for Yooka Laylee? What's the next target that you guys have your sights set on?
Well, we'd like, there to be more Yooka Laylee in future. We've got the wider Platonic universe to think about as well, and how different characters in different genres help drive an interconnected story across different games, whilst also having satisfying stories for their individual games themselves. And having seen the response to what Yooka Laylee they've been given so far, I think there's lots of legs and interesting ideas. We can take them forwards in different ways.
Great. Well, thank you very much. Where can we find Yooka Laylee and Platonic Games, like online and social media things?
Yeah, platonicgames.com. From our website, you can also find us on Facebook, on Twitter. Happy to engage with fans. We've got our own forums on our website as well. Seek us out and engage with us, and we look forward to listening to you.
Excellent, and thank you very much for this. It was an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks very much.
No, thank you. Without you guys, it would be nothing. So.
So keep an eye out for it. It's out very soon. That is, but you know the name already. Of course you do. It's one of the biggest things that's come out of the gaming industry in the past few years. Yooka Laylee. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Cheers. That, ladies and gentlemen, was Yooka Laylee, and that brings us to the end of our EGX 2016 Indie Dev interviews. But don't you worry, we'll be back in 2017 doing exactly the same thing again, and we cannot wait to see what EGX has in store for us then. If you like what you have heard here, whether it was today or over the course of the past 2 months as we've shown you a whole bunch of indie games that really deserve your attention, please consider dropping us a like, dropping us a subscribe, because it would mean a great deal to us. It would help our content go a little bit further, and it might help you learn about a few games that you'll want to pick up in the process. And we'd really appreciate that. If you really, really like it, we've got some social channels, we've got a Facebook page, we've got a Twitter page. We'd love to see you on there talking to us about what you thought of the show, what you thought of the games we've talked about, or just anything you want. So feel free to take a look at those if you feel so inclined. Now here's just a quick note. The rest of the year looks very good for Games Up Podcast. We've got a couple of things that we're working on, something that we've never done before, which I can't wait to release to you, and a couple of things as we get towards the end of the year. Of course, we have a Christmas episode. We have a special kind of Christmas episode this year, which is going to be a bit different and a bit cool. And of course, we look forward to arguing over Game of the Year. Thank you so much if you've joined us over the past 2 months, or if you've joined us whenever. We really appreciate it, and we can't wait to show you what we have in store for the last of this year and the future. But until then, and it won't be very long, the game's up.